Welcome to Owning the Masters, a podcast where we discuss business, entrepreneurship, and lifestyle for the culture. I'm your host, Be the Boss, and I am here with my most special guest, and I can say that this will be probably my most special guest that I ever have on my podcast. My child, one of them.
Her favorite, but she ain't gonna say that on the interwebs.
I don't have favorites. Kyla Jones, owner of Mariposa Art Studio, owner of Nine Lives Tea and Body Co., owner of her own life and her business because she's 18, and I love that for me. Hello, Pumpkin.
Hi, Mother. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. You owe me.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
So we are going to have a very special conversation today. So I brought her on because it'll be a very interesting dynamic. I am a millennial parent of a Gen Zer. So we are very close in age. And I think that I have a very unique parenting style. And this is kind of a new chapter in my life, having an adult kid. So I have an 18-year-old, I have a teenager, a 14-year-old, and I also have a 6-year-old. So I have children kind of across different generations. So this is the first one that I've raised from start to finish, and she survived it. So we're going to talk about it a little bit. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So she turned 18 May 29th. So she's been an adult approximately 90 days.
It has only been 3 months.
How's the first 90 days? How's the first 120 days of adulthood been going?
It's been good. I can say I've learned quite a bit just in the little bit of time. I understand everything my mama was trying to tell me now that I'm an adult, because I didn't understand when I was having to live underneath her house and her rules, and I was pretty much sheltered from everything else. But now that I'm not, and now that I'm out there, because I don't really live with her right now either. So yeah, now that I'm out there, it's hard. Kids of parents don't grow up too fast, because you're definitely gonna want to go back.
And let's preface to say, you heard her say she no longer lives under my roof. So we can start there.
Ooh.
How much of that do you want to share?
I'm fine with it all. I'm very transparent.
Okay. So let's see. It's been
I haven't lived with you in
July.
2 months.
July. It's been about 3 months.
Oh,
about
it's been
3 months.
Yeah. It's been a minute.
Just to preface, I did not put her out.
No, I chose to leave, guys. I chose to leave. Hindsight's 2020 now. I probably should have stayed home with my mama, but I left, and that was the choice that I made. I mean, yeah. I feel like for life purposes, for me understanding for my own sake, it was a lot easier for me to understand for my own sake not living with you anymore. But as far as the whole me moving out in the first place, I probably shouldn't have did it, especially under the circumstances that I did it under.
What have you learned?
18-year-olds, young people, don't move in with your significant other. Oh my God, please don't. Please don't. Because that's what I did. And I'm not going to say it's going bad, but it definitely could be going better. But it just probably was something that I shouldn't have done at the age that I'm at, not knowing everything that I need to know to be able to do that. Which, I mean, you live and you learn, because life is a learning experience. I'm realizing from asking a whole bunch of people about how to live adulthood that nobody knows what they're doing.
Facts.
So I'm just trying to figure it out too. But honestly, hindsight's 2020. I wouldn't have moved out under the circumstances that I did, and if I would have moved out, like if going back and being able to do it over again, I probably would have moved out with my friend instead of moving out with a person that I didn't move out with, because it just probably wasn't a good idea for me to do. Other than that, though,
okay, so let me see, how do I say this? I was freaked out at first when you left. I
Oh, we
definitely had a shell shock for a good 2 weeks. I was in mental turmoil, and it was like because um I had you at 19. So I went straight from being somebody's child to being somebody's parent. So my identity as an adult is being your mother. Your mother specifically because I've been your mother the entire time I've been an adult.
know. Right.
So, I kind of had to shed my identity from you. That's why it's important as parents to understand our role. We don't own our kids. Our kids, we raise them for them to leave. That's the whole point of parenthood, is guide them so that they can leave. They don't belong to us. Ultimately, they have to go out and live their own lives. And I kind of had to remember that because that's always what I've known in theory, but to actually have to walk through it, it was hard. And I think that the biggest thing I had to learn was that I had to trust my parenting.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had to sit back and think like, you know what, I did a good job. I did a good job. She has a good head on her shoulders. And we had a long conversation about, her moving and things like that. And she felt strongly that it was the right thing for her to do. So ultimately, I had to suck it up and respect you as a woman now and not as my child, because you're not my child anymore. I birthed you, you're my daughter, but you're not my child. So I had to learn how to respect your decisions as a young lady and not force you to do things because you're my kid.
Right.
So it's definitely like learning detachment on another level. Detaching from something that's literally a part of you. Like, we share DNA. We shared a body for 9 months. And again, my identity as an adult, because I had you so young, was wrapped up in being your mom. So I had to detach from myself as well as your mom because, like I said, that was my identity. So now I'm learning how to change my role in your life and become less parenty and more like a coach. So I think our relationship now is good because you kind of tag me in when you need me. And I love it because when you get on my nerves, I don't have to talk to you every day. I can hang up on her and I can not talk to her for a week and we good. Sometimes we need that space apart because you have been in my life, my whole adult life.
So we get on each other's nerves. And another thing, I actually do kind of think that, like, honestly, like I said, if I was to do it over again, there's definitely things that I would change about the way that I went about said situation with me leaving. But, like, in all honesty, I do feel like me and my mom's relationship is a lot better because I feel like we're so much alike that we clash heads sometimes. Well, not sometimes. We clash heads a lot. But
I don't think so.
Not like a lot, but like not like fighting a lot, but like we just bicker sometimes. And it's just like we get on each other's nerves.
You get on my nerves.
Yeah, we get on each other's nerves real bad.
Yeah.
And so sometimes the space is a little bit better because then we can just like, we can talk to each other when we need to. Not when we need to, but like when we have the energy to do so. Because also another thing I've realized about being an adult, like, like when you have, I don't know, viewers, some of y'all might have kids. Some of y'all might not have kids. But a lot of y'all that do got kids and work, it is hard to come home from work and to try to entertain a whole bunch of people. I barely want to entertain myself. I just go to sleep after I get home from work because I just don't have the energy. And so now I understand, like, with her, when I was younger, not having the energy sometimes to, like, talk to us and entertain us. But it makes it a little bit easier because now we don't have to entertain each other when we're sick of each other.
Mm-hmm. Well, my rule when they were very young, when Cameron and my 14-year-old and Kyla were very young, was that I need 20 minutes when I walk through the door.
Right. No, I remember that.
It's mandatory 20 minutes of don't talk to me. Like, literally, I would have to tell them, Mommy been home for 20 minutes. I set a timer for 20 minutes. I will go in my room. I will lock my door, change my clothes, take a shower, lay on my bed and just look stupid in pure solitude for 20 minutes. And then I can come and interact. I trained my kids that way. It sounds, they're not dogs, but I definitely like that is a rule. That's a boundary that I had to have in my household as a single parent because there was nobody else to take on those responsibilities. So I got off work. It would give me some time to decompress, get myself together, and then I could be 100% for you guys.
Right.
Because when you working and interacting with people all day,
it's exhausting.
Yeah.
I understood when I worked at Starbucks.
Especially when you're in a service field where you have to deal with people all day.
Yeah, it's not for the weak. Mm-mm. And now that I'm like a nail tech and stuff and I'm in it all day, every day, it is not for the weak. Sometimes I go home wanting to cry because I'm like a social person, but I can make myself social. I'm not social by like default. It's definitely a learned trait.
She talks a lot.
I talk a lot, but that doesn't mean
she's not shy.
Yeah.
But she's an introvert.
Yeah.
For sure.
I know how to exert it when it's needed. But yeah, just being like that. Sorry. Just being like that and like having to teach myself how to do that. I understand now. It's coming like a lot of like me. Honestly, let's just break it down like this. Me in this little 90, 120 days I've been an adult, I've been realizing a whole lot of stuff that my mama been telling me since I was little. And I'm like, oh, like applying it. You know, like at school, you get taught some things. Some of them you use, some of them you don't. Oh, no, I'm using all of it because I understand where she was coming from. Like when you're a kid, it's coming from like a selfish point of view. Like you don't understand where the other person's coming from. You've never experienced it, nor have you had to. So you're like, why are you acting like that? You know, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? No, you understand when you are in it. It definitely becomes like I understand what she meant now.
Because I think with parents, especially parents of multiple kids, like my job is to sustain the greater good. So when I make rules or set boundaries for us, the rule or the boundary is in place for everybody because it's going to benefit us as a collective. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, somebody's always going to feel slighted because you can't please other people all the time. But I know if everybody is 40% happy, right, rather than somebody being 0, somebody being 95, somebody being 50, if everybody is at 40%, then that compromise has been made and I did a good job.
It makes it a little bit easier for everybody.
It makes it a little bit easier. If we all pissed off, then I did something right. You know? Right. It sounds crazy, but I feel like that's just learning and teaching compromise.
On that note, also learned a lot about that. Being in a relationship.
Okay, talk about it.
Oh, man. Oh, man. Me and my significant other get on each other's nerves so bad. And I'm the type of person, I want what I want when I want it. And I've always been that way.
Spoiled.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But he's also the same way. So 2 people like that in a relationship, we bump heads a lot. And I've kind of had, like, I have siblings and stuff. So I kind of have already realized compromise, and I'm the oldest. So I kind of been in it a little bit. I do it when forced because she would force me. I had no choice. I have to treat my siblings as such. I don't have a choice with that one.
Mm-hmm. But you're the oldest.
Yeah.
So you will have to compromise the most.
Exactly. So I'm kind of like, I'm not going to say like completely used to it, but I'm used to it. But I'm not used to it dealing with it with somebody that's on the same level as me. So it's been a little bit of a learning curve because of me being that way. Yeah, that's another thing I've had to learn. Just learning how to compromise. Also keeping my mouth shut because not all fights or arguments need to be had. Not all of them are worth it.
My greatest advice when it comes to that is be okay with losing the battle as long as you don't lose yourself. So there was a quote, not necessarily a quote, but there was like an interview that Maya Angelou did. I think it was one of her last interviews with Oprah, and she was asking her, what was one of the greatest lessons that you taught your son? And she said that the greatest lesson that she taught her son was that you have to keep a space within yourself that is just for you, that nobody has access to. And the second somebody gets under your skin or triggers your immune system to the point where you feel like they are reaching that point of touching that place, you have to back off, because that's for you.
Yeah, let anybody.
That's giving your power away.
Right.
So the most important thing you can do sometimes is to be quiet, because silence sometimes can speak louder than words. And sometimes sometimes when people bicker and fight with you, it's because they don't know how to communicate something. But that doesn't mean you have to stoop down to that level. So you can try to communicate what you're trying to say. And then some people are just going to be committed to misunderstanding you. And at that point, you don't waste your words.
Right, because there's no point. Right.
And I've learned in communicating with men especially, listening and being quiet, actually, men will tell you everything that they want if you listen to them. They do.
Facts.
I learned this from my daddy. I said, Dad, I had men tell me a lot of times that I don't listen. I said, how, what is he talking about? I don't listen. I hear everything he's saying. He was like, but you talk too much. Sometimes you just need to be quiet.
Yeah, and I have that problem. I definitely have that problem.
Because we can be headstrong and we want to see things our way. But sometimes, like I said, you have to be okay with losing the battle to avoid losing yourself.
Right.
And sometimes if you be quiet and come back to the conversation later, it's a whole different conversation, or the conversation is never had at all because y'all were both tired, or y'all had a bad day, or somebody pissed him off, or somebody pissed me off. And what I was upset about in the moment wasn't even me.
Right.
I mean, it wasn't even anything you did. It's just you're the person that's in closest proximity to me. And I can't say nothing to my boss at work. So I'm going to come home and I still need to release this anger that's built up in my body. So the second you say, what do you want to eat? I don't want to make another decision today. So I'm going to pop off on you. I don't know what I want to eat. Like, I don't care. Just make something. Go to the store. And it turns into something that it really didn't need to be, when it was really that your boss was talking crazy to you at work. So in those moments where you're like, okay, you getting hyped up a little bit. All right, babe. I'll come back and ask you later. Or it's okay, babe. I'm going to go figure out dinner. This is what we're going to have. I'll be back. And that's vice versa.
Right.
That should always be reciprocal. And the longer that you spend time with somebody, you kind of learn their patterns. And it's just not in romantic relationships. It's with friendships.
No, yeah. And I was about to say, even with like family, because I've found myself doing that too. Because like a lot of my relationships before, they were like little kitty relationships. So I never had to be with them a whole bunch like that. I never was like in their face, like even when I didn't want them in my face. Like it was never like that because I never had to live with nobody before. But now, like, I didn't end up taking stuff out on people. I would just talk to them when I wanted to talk to them. But this situation is, like, different because I can't talk to him whenever I want to talk to him. It's like you're in my face all the time. So it's either, like, get out of my face or we just start going at it. And I'm just like, come on now. But I also have realized, yeah, like you said, like, it is the people that are in closest proximity to you. Because we have situations like that. Where you just gotta like
not. I think as you mature, you'll learn how to be more self-aware. You'll learn how to be more self-aware and in touch with your own feelings, because ultimately it's never about the other person. And we kind of had this conversation.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
the other
you
day.
said it's always about.
It is
you.
always about. It never has anything to do with you.
It's at least other person.
The most important of the 4 agreements in my opinion, is never take anything personal. My therapist taught me that. Every time I would come in and be like, this happened and this person said, he was like, don't take it personal. And I was like, what do you mean? That's my. It ain't about you. It ain't never about you.
Now, I feel like in our society we make things so like us oriented, like everything's about us. We're so egocentrical that we don't think about anything else. Like honestly, I was having this conversation with somebody the other day, a lot of like the way that we behave and the way that we act in like this day and age, even adults, it's like reverting back to like talking to a child. We have no patience. We don't know how to communicate. Nothing.
Nope.
Like it's so gone, like so far gone, and I'm just like it's
frustrating.
it's hard to build relationships with people. The reason why I don't have many friends because it's hard to meet people my age that have the level of communication and understanding of other people other than themselves. It's hard to find that between 18 and 30. Because I know 30, 40-year-olds that don't know how to do it. That act like adult, overgrown children.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, we definitely
we know some overgrown children.
We know a lot of overgrown children. That's very true.
Also, another thing I've kind of noticed and observed while being an adult, overgrown children. Like you're as an 18-year-old, as a young person who has just become an adult, it's different because when you're like 17 and you don't have that tag of being an adult because you're not 18 yet, you haven't been fully
and somebody is still responsible for you ultimately.
Exactly. So you look at things a little bit different. You don't have that title on you because at the end of the day, adult is just a title. You have to be mature enough to be an adult. Otherwise, you're just still a child. You end up becoming a man boy or
a girl woman.
A girl woman. Exactly. But like I said, what was I even talking about? I don't even remember.
People being egocentrical
and
selfish.
Yeah. But like me, I know what I was talking about. Okay. So like with me just turning 18 and stuff, I've realized with a lot of adults that I've been around how like truly childish that behaviors that they do are. Mm-hmm. Because I'm just like, no way that at your big age you're acting like that. 2 years ago, I wouldn't have thought that because I'm just like, you're an adult. What do I say to you? I'm not in the point of life that you're in for me to even judge you. I don't know how to adult. I'm not even going to say nothing to you or have any thoughts that are judgmental. Mm-hmm. Now that I'm in it and I kind of know like the guidelines of what being an adult entails, I'm like, what are you doing? What are you actually doing? Mm-hmm. It is a level of awareness that I've gained from other people. Just is wild to me. Is wild to me because I like to people watch too, and just like, the observations are truly astonishing.
And seeing how people like move. Yeah. Maturity has nothing to do with age.
No, and I'm realizing that
maturity has everything to do with. Maturity is a choice, in my opinion. You have to choose maturity. Some people are okay with just not growing. Being stagnant and not healing whatever they've been through. You have to choose that. Being mature is a choice. Being adult is a choice. We got a lot of grown people out here.
Yeah.
But being grown and being mature are two completely different things.
And it's just wild how many grown people, how many adults are raising little people acting the way that they do. And I honestly feel like that's the reason why Gen Zers act the way that we do. Also, I had this conversation with my mom. I also attribute a lot of that, like people my age acting the way that they do, a lot of their behaviors. I do attribute a lot of that to COVID. And that's coming from a COVID kid. I know a lot of adults don't think that COVID really had a impact on people, but no, it definitely did. And I'm one of the people that it had an impact on. It had an impact on our attention spans. It had an impact on drug use. It had an impact on loneliness, like even
mental health, yeah.
Mental health, yeah. The amount of kids that I know that are still in high school that are on like addicted to drugs, like heavy, that weren't before is just wild.
Yeah, and I think crazy. Again, it kind of goes back to two points. The selfishness of our society now, and that's just I think that like 2020 to really 2022 was traumatic for everybody.
Yeah, everybody's just trying to cope,
especially the children. It was a lot of loss, it was a lot of change, it was a lot of adjusting, and I feel like as a kid, I didn't really pay attention until you told me, but as a kid, I could imagine trying to, especially because during COVID, you were, how old were you? You
14.
were 15.
Yeah, I was 15.
You were 15. You
I
turned
hadn't even
15
turned
in
15 yet.
2020. You turned 15.
Yeah, no, I was 15.
So being at that weird age of 15,
Not knowing yourself.
not knowing yourself, and then having like school is disrupted, then people around you, like we had a lot of loss, people dying, people sick, people, the world was shut down, and like as parents we just trying to survive. But I think a lot of children, like we really didn't think about the aftermath of how that affected our kids, because kids, if you were raised in my generation, kids were just supposed to adjust. But now I think a lot of parents are learning, like, we can barely adjust.
Right.
So how can we expect our kids with fragile minds to just be able to adjust when the world around us is hard for the adults to digest?
Not only are like kids like that, but we're also very, very susceptible to things that we see. So a lot of like, this goes back to the conversation the thing that I literally just said. Like a lot of adults or middle-aged people definitely judge kids that were in quarantine, say that it wasn't hard. But just imagine yourself in high school, just starting high school, having to figure out yourself, having to figure out what you like and don't like, having to figure out how to navigate situations that you've never even experienced, heard of, nothing, until you missed 3 years of having to do that. So you have to wait to do that until you're like 17, 18.
Yep.
So my junior year was an absolute train wreck because I was trying to live out all the high school experiences that I was seeing online and hearing people talk about and this and that and this and that, because I had never gotten to experience, hear, see, nothing. Like, you're just in your home. You're completely sheltered. So when you get all of those ideas and you get a whole bunch of kids coming up to you with all these ideas and you're like, dang, I've been locked up for 2-3 years. Shoot, tap me in. Then you're going to want to. Like,
yeah.
You're
and
going
I
to
think
want
those
to.
are just formative years. Like high school, like most people in American society, like high school is a big deal.
Yeah.
We have prom, we have the social things, we're preparing for college. Like we have, like those are formative, memorable years. You always make your closest friends. A lot of your best friends you make during high school, like as you're growing during those years. And so you guys missed all that.
And not
like
only
you
that,
didn't get to have you didn't get to have prom. Well, you did, but
I didn't go.
Didn't go.
Okay.
We'll talk about that in a minute. But like, like the dances and the games, football games, basketball games, homecoming,
like, none of it.
Things like that. You guys didn't get any of that.
And not only did we not get it, but when we did get it, like prom and stuff, all that into my senior year, which was last year, and really even it was really this year. So waiting until this year to have something that wasn't social distance. So you're not only having to learn something like from people. It's just like adulting, okay? Kids are just trying to figure it out just as well as adults. High school is a time where you're not learning things you're learning things from your parents. Your parents are guiding you. But initially, you're learning everything that you know about how to interact with people your age from school. So you're missing out on how to do all of that. So just like adults are trying to navigate dealing with other adults and having to figure that out it's like the shell shock of turning 18. Like when you don't have COVID, like honestly, me turning 18 was my shell shock to everything because I never really got the shell shock of high school. I was in high school for like...
was different though.
Yeah, I was in high school for 3 months.
So we can talk about you okay with elaborating like your high school experience?
Yeah.
I'll give a synopsis. So it says she was a freshman in 2019. So you went through one semester of freshman year, which is always rough for everybody, being 14 going into high school.
Is what she's trying to say.
You weren't terrible, but you definitely had a little brief rebellious period. So first semester of her freshman year was a little rough. And then we had the first half of the second semester freshman year, spring break.
It was like 2 weeks. We didn't even have...
No. You did. You went the first half of the first half of the second semester of freshman year, and then COVID, because y'all went to spring break and never went back to school.
Oh shoot, yeah, we did.
So, COVID hit in March. So y'all just never went back after
yeah,
spring
they were
break.
like they were like I remember seeing something on the news like literally 2 days before I never went back to school.
Yep.
They were like, you guys are gonna be out of school for 2 weeks probably. This will
Yeah.
probably be your last day. Get your stuff out your locker. We were like, oh.
And they never went back.
And we didn't go back until junior year.
Yeah. Yep, you never went back. So that was March. Fast forward, sophomore year, we still were in quarantine.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they were semi-quarantined. You were semi-quarantined sophomore year because you still had
year, the
soccer.
only thing was
you were able to play soccer.
Yeah, the only
so
thing they were really doing was like sports,
outside sports.
Yeah, outside sports.
So she started playing soccer just as something to do because she needed to get out of the house.
Mm-hmm.
And then we were still in quarantine school, and then your dad passed away.
Yep.
So, I'm gonna try not to cry, y'all. So September 2020, her father passed away at 15 in the middle of COVID.
Yeah.
Trying to start high school, trying to socialize. So that was a huge deal for us.
Yeah.
Like it was very sudden. He was 34. So we definitely were not expecting it at all.
And it was out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Nobody was, it was, I remember the day I was coming home from a game. We had just won a game. I don't remember who we went against. I had just come home from a soccer game. And then my uncle called my mom and then like told her everything.
Yeah, I didn't believe it was real.
I was still in my jersey and everything. It was wild.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I didn't believe it. I thought it was a joke. Yeah, I thought it was a joke. We had a previous experience where, her dad was on life support for some time. This was when you were 11.
Yep.
So
I'm on his
they were,
deathbed
but
yeah,
you did. But then he came back because he was a G. He bounced back like nothing ever happened. But in 2020 when we got that call, like I thought it was like, like the last time, like he gonna bounce back, he gonna be all right. And he was like, nah, he gone, like for real gone. And during that time, like it had been, her dad kind of had a hard time with her becoming a young woman.
Yeah, me and him were like arguing at the time because he just couldn't get over the fact that his little girl was not a little girl anymore.
Yeah.
And so yeah, we were just kind of bashing
not
heads.
seeing eye to eye completely.
And that just made it a little bit harder.
Yeah.
Because we weren't really on speaking terms.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. But, that happened. And that, that's a tough thing to navigate as a 15-year-old. Like you were a kid.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out like life with boys and this and that. And I'm like just figuring it out for real. And like needing him to be there. Mm-hmm. And just having to navigate like relationships and how men think and being around dudes and all this, like just all of that.
One thing I will say though about your dad though, and we used to go back and forth about this a lot. Like he and I used to butt heads because I felt like, I would always feel like he was very open with her about everything. About the struggles that he had in his life, about him being a teenager, about how he was raised. Like he kind of had some struggles in his life and he was in and out, but I allowed him to be the best parent he could be. So he, when he did have her, he would tell her a lot. He gamed her up.
Me and him had some real life conversations at a young age. I remember him trying to game me up and tell me like little stuff about just living life and people, because he had definitely had a lot more life experience than a lot of people I know. Yeah. So he was the one to hear it from. But yeah,
I would get upset because I'm like, stop telling her everything. You are stealing my baby's innocence. But in hindsight, that was like God's way of, he gave you the tools. He gave you the tools. Like God knew he wasn't going to be around for this stage of your life. So he did that. He put that on his heart to share with you so he could game you up before he left.
Yep.
And the thing about it is like, the one thing I could say, even though you did lose your dad at such a young age, and we've talked about this before, like you don't have a daddy wound.
No, I don't, because he definitely did everything to his best of his ability. I don't have a wound in, like, I miss him being there.
Yeah.
Like, I miss what could have been. That's more so like the grieving that I go through when it comes to my dad, because I miss and grieve the time that we could have spent together, and the time we did spend together, and then the time we could have spent together where he could have been in my life a lot more. But I don't like lack love when it comes to like father figures, because I have more than enough father figures. But even then, like, my dad made sure that he told me he loved me. He made sure that I knew whether we were arguing or not. And he always, like, I will never have, like, I knew I was his princess. Like, I never will have a wound when it comes to like that type of thing where it's like, I don't know if my dad loved me or this and that. Like, I'm never going to worry about that, because I know that he did.
110%. You were his
He would
one
tell
and
everybody
only.
about me. Like, there was people at his funeral that I didn't even know that knew about me, that were like, "Oh, you B's daughter. You B's daughter." I was like, I don't even know you. He was
Well,
like,
I
yeah, you would
mean-
tell me so much about him. You would tell me so much about you, this and that and this and that. And I was like, oh.
Well,
I
I mean,
don't
you
know
do
you, but
have
nice
his
to meet
entire
you.
face. So the funny part about it is she looks exactly like her dad. So people that know or knew her dad, like, they see her and, like, there is no question. She literally is a clone of her father. I don't even know how it happened.
She wasn't even there.
I wasn't. It was immaculate conception. I was
I'm
just the
weak.
carrier. But yeah, you definitely are his twin. So people don't know when you
Right.
walk up. But also, I would tell her that, like, a lot. Like, when you were little and your dad wouldn't be there, I'd be like, well, if you ever want to see your daddy, just go look in the mirror. You get to see his face every day. Literally, you get to see his face every single day, because you are his twin. 110%.
No, for real.
So, yeah. But just being able to navigate grief as a teenager is hard. And from a parent standpoint, having to parent you through that, because I still have my parents. I'm 37 years old. I still have my parents. I'm 37 years old and still have grandparents.
Right.
So, in both of my grandparents, I have my mom, my dad, I have a stepmom, and I have my grandparents, and they're both living. I don't have grandparents on my dad's side, but my mom's parents are still alive and well.
No,
So to have experienced a loss like that, to have to parent you through something I've never been through, you know, it was different. But it's about empathy, and I never wanted you. My biggest thing was not wanting to push you through however you felt, because I didn't feel like that. I didn't understand. So I wanted to make sure that you had the space to be able to feel whatever it was that you needed to feel in order to be able to grieve in your own way. I didn't want to push you through your process.
Right. And you didn't.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I always thank you for, because I don't know how I would have dealt with that if it wasn't for you. Because that's like I don't even know how to explain it. It's like a piece of you dies along with that. So it's just like,
literally it did, because you're a part. You were him. You shared DNA with him.
Yeah. So this is like it's like, where do I go from here? Like, I feel like I didn't get everything from this, and these are the feelings that I was feeling at the time. Like, I felt like I didn't get what I needed to get from my parents before he just left me. And it was like why would you just leave me? And like the issues that he had too was just like, that was a lot of the feeling too, because just like what he went
wasn't
through,
able to be consistent.
And it was just like, it was a lot of like questioning. I'm not gonna lie, it was a lot of questioning God. I definitely questioned my faith a lot, just because, like, I'm like, why did you take my parent away that I barely had? Like, take away all the rest of the time that I could have had with them. Now that I'm able to make like more of my own choices type. So it was like, if I wanted to, I could have saw him more when I got older, like that type of thing. Like, I was just like, why would you take away my opportunity to be able to bond with my parent? And it was a lot of like self-blaming too. Not even gonna lie, I dealt with a lot of guilt.
Yeah, just because you guys weren't on the best of terms when he passed away.
Yeah.
But there's another even side story to that. Even though you guys weren't on speaking terms, he was still reaching out to me. like I just like I couldn't force her to speak to him.
That's another thing I love about my mom's parenting. Like, she understood the relationship that I had with my dad and my parent. And if you're a parent of a kid that's their other parents not really around, like, a lot of them try to force, if there's nothing seemingly visibly wrong with the other parent, they will try to force them to go with the other parent. And my mom, or force them to talk to the other parent, the other side of your family, like all of that. My mom never did that. She always left it for me to make my decision when I was old enough and in the right age to be able to do so and make a decision for myself. She made it known that if you don't want to talk to him, you don't have to. Mm-hmm. If you don't want to talk to that other side, your other side of the family, you don't have to. Like, if they make you feel some type of way, you don't have to. And she never made me.
Yeah, I would always encourage it.
Yeah,
but it's not.
She will always she will always allow the space for me to make my own informed decision.
Yeah. And I think that comes from me being raised in two separate households. My child had a good childhood. You know, like I said, I still have my parents. I have a good relationship with my father and my stepmom, and I have a good relationship with my mom. But understanding, like, as a child who grew up with their parents not living in the same house, my dad and stepmom lived a place, and my mom, I'm her only child. Mm-hmm. And I was forced to go. And there was a time in my life where I didn't want to go. Like, I didn't want to go. Mm-hmm. It was a lot of things I didn't necessarily understand, but I didn't feel connected to that side of the family when I was that age. So I felt like I was in the way. I felt like I'm only here out of obligation because the judge said that y'all had to have me, and I'm just here. Why am I here? Right. And I never wanted my kids to feel like unwanted. And it's not that they didn't want me. Yes, it was a court order. It was just like I said, I was a kid and nothing was explained to me. So I didn't understand it. Mm-hmm. And as a kid, we think everything is about us. And so I internalized that for a long time, and it created a wound in me that never needed to really be there. So when it comes to my kids and having to raise my kids as a single mom in two different households, though I encouraged you to have a relationship with that side of the family.
You always left that open. You never took that away from me, but you also gave me the choice to make my own decision. Yeah. And if it didn't suit me to talk to him or whatever, and you never made me. Yeah.
Even though I strongly encouraged, but he always knew too, he would call me and leave me messages. Yeah. And pass this message to her, have her call me, and I would let her hear the message. I'm like, you need to call your dad.
He'd be like, yeah, he trying to reach out to you. Yeah. She would always let me know. It was always just me deciding whether or not I wanted to heed the advice. Yeah. Another thing, while we're still talking about this.
It's probably an unpopular way to raise your kids, an unpopular opinion.
It shouldn't be. Because my mother was very transparent with me all throughout my entire childhood, and I cannot thank her more for it, because I know so many parents in our community, specifically, we are not transparent with their children. We keep a lot of things from them. We just tell them, it's because I said so. Because I said so. Why did you say so? You never get an explanation. It's just because they said so. And I feel like with my generation, a lot of people my age, backtrack, hearing from people of my grandmother's age, talk about people from my age, they feel like we're not owed an explanation for anything. We ask too many questions. We don't do what we're supposed to. We're overly sensitive, and that's how they feel about a lot of people my age. And I honestly don't think that enough questions were asked. A lot of them were shut down when they were kids, and that's the reason why they think like that. And I honestly feel like it'll help your relationship with your parents so much more if if the parent is transparent with the child. Mm-hmm. Because we're not stupid. Like my 6-year-old sister, she asked me questions that I never would have thought a 6-year-old would ask me. These kids, the little ones, as of right now, are not dumb. All of them know what they're doing, and they're extremely emotionally aware. And I honestly feel like a lot of that can be attributed to social media and the fact that they have access to that type of information. So they know what their emotions are. They know how they feel. Because they know what's happening.
They're being taught that in the programming.
Exactly.
They're being taught that in the programming, and I love it actually. But I think a lot of like my parenting is like I kind of adopted a long time ago. Being a young mom for one, we're very close in age,
Mm-hmm.
so I kind of understand. I was 18 not that much long, no, not that
Right.
long ago, so I kind of understand. But also, I used to raise you like that. Kids are to be seen and not heard. Shut up, be
I know, that's
quiet.
why I can tell
I'ma
the
whip your
difference.
butt. Like
Yeah, exactly.
I raised her like that until I saw where social media was going and understanding that okay, hold on, the world is a lot more open.
Mm-hmm.
There are things I can't shield my kids from.
Exactly. And it's
Like,
a thing where when I was younger, my mom, like when I was a lot younger, my mom kind of raised me like that. So it also technology was kind of up and coming during that time. And I had access to technology. I was a spoiled oldest child. So I had anything I wanted. So if I had a question and she didn't feel like answering it, I would just look it up. That's a dangerous place for any child to be because the
when you're
internet is
7, 8
not
years old.
to be played with.
Mm-hmm.
The internet is not to be played with. Honestly, I feel like a lot of that though is just properly, not like necessarily shielding them, but properly shielding them.
You can't shield
Just
your
showing
kids from
them
anything anymore.
what you want them to see.
That's not possible.
You don't think so?
No, because all information is readily available to everybody. So whereas my parents could actually spoon feed me the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like I could not have TV and not have phone and not have access to the world.
Right.
Literally, I'd be in my room with a book because I had no access. If it wasn't TV, radio, I didn't have a computer at Mama's house until I was a teenager.
That's
so
wild.
I didn't have access to the world. But now, like I said, information is so readily available. So whereas I could be spoon-fed at my parents' discretion what I was exposed to, that doesn't exist. So my parenting style is to teach you how to deal with situations ahead of time because I know that you're going to encounter this thing. So when you see XYZ, this is how you handle it.
Mm-hmm.
And you have these scenarios. So I think it's important to give our kids as parents in this generation, it's important to allow our kids to make age appropriate decisions and not crucify them for it, because there's going to be a lot of decisions that our kids are going to have to make at a very young age when we're not present. Because not only are we parenting our kids, we are parenting our kids from other people's bad parenting.
Mm-hmm.
So just because I don't allow my kid to watch whatever, I don't allow my kid to play GTA, doesn't mean that little Tyrone in the first grade class wasn't watching strippers on GTA last night and is gonna tell my little Timmy about it. Like, I don't allow my kid to listen to Sexy Red, but
but if a little kid starts
little Malaysia or little Lisa in the class know Pound Town word for word, and my baby's like, hold on, what are you singing? What's that? My booty hole? What? Like, I'm shielding my kids from other people's bad parenting.
Yeah.
Like, that's literally what we do. So the best thing we can do even at like my 6-year-old makes age appropriate decisions for herself, because we need to create good decision makers. I don't want, and as a parent,
because the choices are infinite.
It saves you a lot of stress. And this is what I've recently learned in dealing with you. Like I said, I have to trust my parenting. Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, my parenting style, I have taught you how to make good decisions. Even though I question sometimes your decision-making skills, I know that I have given you the foundation to be able to make the decisions you need to make. You have a moral compass, even if you don't make the right decisions or the decisions I agree with all the time. Because I don't believe there's right or wrong decisions. It just may not be a decision that I agree with, which doesn't necessarily make it wrong, because it could be right for you. It's just not what I agree with. And just understanding, like, I did a good job of giving you a foundation. Mm-hmm. So you have a moral compass. You know, like, I've let you have the blue pill or the red pill before. And sometimes you got to take the red pill because you don't think fat meat greasy. And I got to take my hands off of it.
Yep.
And sometimes I got to let you fall age appropriately. So, like, even with my 14-year-old, if she don't make the right decision, like, I don't check my kids' grades at all. I do not check homework. I don't check grades. I set the expectation, and when the report card come out, if the grades don't look right, I've already given you consequence A, B, and C, so you already know.
Right.
I don't even have to worry about it.
You know what to expect.
Yeah, I'm not checking your homework every night. I'm not emailing your teacher. If you need something, you see the teacher every day. I got my own job. You ask the teacher for help.
That's
like I don't
you taught
do that.
us independence. Yes. A lot of people my age do not know that.
Because I'm not parenting kids for the rest of my life. I am teaching you to leave me so I can live my life. I want to be able to come over your house when you're 35 and visit my grandkids and know when I leave, you're going to be okay.
Right.
Because I taught you everything you needed to know. I want to be able to live my life one day because being a sandwich, I'm a millennial. So again, I still have my great-grandparents. I still have my grandparents, your great-grandparents. So I started young. I had you at 19. I have 3 kids. I have a 6-year-old still. But my parents are in their 60s. So as soon as I'm done raising my 6-year-old, I'm going to have to take care of my parents.
Dang.
So my window of time to really have to myself, I might get a smooth 4 or 5 years if I'm lucky. Maybe. So I really want to make sure that my kids I ain't got to worry about.
Right. Make sure they straight.
Yeah. And I mean, it's my pleasure to be able to take care of the people around me, but at some point I want to be able to take care of myself. Right. And yes, it probably sounds selfish.
No.
But I think that we do ourselves as parents a disservice when we put our kids in a position to need us for the rest of our lives. It's selfish. Mm-hmm. You're not teaching them anything. It's for your own self-pleasure. You want your kid to hit whatever mark or check off whatever box that you didn't, and it's self-serving.
Living vicariously through your kids. Don't do it.
And that goes back to like having parents that post all their kids' accomplishments. Like, I hate that. Like, I post my kids with their permission, and I will never post my kids' accomplishments or failures online.
Right.
Because you should be allowed to fail in peace. You should also be allowed to succeed in peace if you choose to.
Exactly.
And I shouldn't take that away from you because social media has enough pressure on adults. So if I'm posting my kid getting straight A's every semester.
And they get a B.
They always win varsity. They always do this. When they fail, they're not going to know how to fail. Because they have to feel like they got to reach this standard all the time. And that's so unfair to our babies. It's unfair because we were allowed to fail and succeed in peace. I got stories, me and my bestie going to the grave when we was on some BS at your age, okay?
I'm weak.
But the world will never know because I was allowed to do my mess in peace. And we need to allow our kids to grow at their pace in their way and feel safe with us and know like, okay, if I don't want this to be shared, I'm not going to share it. I ask permission every time I post y'all.
You do.
Even like my 6-year-old, I don't post her Legos, her little videos with her. I don't post a picture. I don't post nothing without my kids' permission because that's your autonomy.
Right. And we already deal with it enough with it being taken away with us even just having access to a phone. We give away our privacy and we don't even know it for real.
Yeah.
We just doing it, just giving it away because it seems fun for us because we're looking for the validation from everybody else. It's another thing that my generation struggles with.
Mm-hmm. Feedback is everything.
That definitely is something I've realized in my own self. Like going to adult school because I just finished nail tech school. So with that, beauty school is completely self-paced. You do everything on your own. They're not going to check up on you. They're not going to see, oh, Lil Kai, did you do your homework today?
So that helped that I never checked your homework, huh?
Yes.
Mind you, I never checked her homework, and she graduated with a 3.2 GPA. Let me just say that.
I did. And I passed 10 classes in 2 months with all A's.
Boom.
Yes, I sure did. But yeah, just like I've realized that in myself with like me going to adult school. Like I'm like, look what I did. And they're like, no one cares because everyone's doing it. I'm like, oh. Because like in regular school, like they'll be like, oh my God, great job. This, that, and the third. You'll post it on Instagram and it'll get 15 million likes. And you'll be like, oh my God, the whole world loves me. But that also like while you're growing up, trying to learn what works for you and what doesn't, it kind of messes you up because it's kind of messed me up in my relationship too, just because constantly looking for validation that I'm getting when I'm by myself, when I'm on my phone, constant when I'm going to talk to people and have conversations with them. And not everybody gonna give you that validation.
Because everybody don't give a
Everybody
damn.
don't care.
Everybody got their own stuff going on. And
everybody has their own thing going on, and they have their own accomplishments and their own setbacks and their own life. So I'm just like, dang, like it's something I've realized in myself, like you have to be the validation for yourself. And that's a lot of like this self-love movement. It definitely needs to happen. Because a lot of us have grown up with the validation from other people constantly since the day we're born, posting on social media. Oh my God, look at this beautiful baby. Look at this baby's first steps. Oh my God, my kid is talking. They're walking and they're 9 months. Oh my God. Mm-hmm. And when you just look at all that, and then you look and you're just constantly having it through your entire childhood. And then when you turn 18, everybody just stops caring because you're an adult. There's no reason for everybody to tell you, oh my God, to boost your ego. You're an adult, so you're living life just like everybody else. You're not doing nothing more special than Joe or Sasha right next to you. Mm-hmm. Y'all are all doing the same thing.
And the gag is that Joe or Sasha's accomplishments, they don't care.
No, they don't.
Because what becomes important to you when you're an adult is different. So what I value and what you value is different. Mm-hmm. You might think that you accomplished something because you bought a Tesla and a big house. Meanwhile, I want to live in a van, but I want to live in a van my whole life. So I'm proud of myself for going to buy this van that I spent $1,500 on and fixing it up and living out of it for the next. Everybody's goals are not the same.
Everybody's idea of success is not the same either.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've realized that.
That's why along with that self-love movement comes my greatest advice. You know my greatest advice is?
Hit me.
You know what my greatest advice is? I say it all the time. The world would be a better place
if everybody just minded their own business.
Yeah.
Period, point blank.
Mind your business.
I live by that. I say that now. And yeah, you kind of beat it into me. But it's definitely the truth.
Yeah.
The world
and
would
that's
definitely
not
be a
just,
better place.
oh my God, mind your own business, don't ask. No, it's literally mind your business. If you care about what you have going on, you don't have time to worry about what everybody else has going on. Like, I literally live in my own world. I did not realize until recently how much I be living in my own world. I will pop my AirPods in and be listening to music and singing loud in the grocery store. Like, I literally be in my world all the time. And I love that for me.
Mm-hmm. Mom, I realized, like, she kind of grew. She raised us that way, too, though. We just were like, oh, I'm going to touch on a subject that I've kind of been wanting to talk about.
Go ahead.
Okay, so this is taking a complete turn from everything else we've been talking about. But I didn't know how much, like, people don't care about how old you are when they try to hit on you.
Oh, when it comes to consent?
When it comes to adulting. That shell-shocked the crap out of me.
No, they don't care.
I did not know how many people have been waiting till I turned 18
to prey on you,
to talk to me until I turned 18. I found out. Oh no, I found out.
I told her, welcome to womanhood.
I was like, what is this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we all have. I definitely was preyed on.
It was
at a young
shell
age.
shock for me.
And the sad part about it is, as a woman, it's common. I feel like every woman has that.
And that's the problem.
Yeah, it is a problem.
That's the problem. I had a situation I just went through where I had an uncomfortable encounter with a man that was older than me, coming at me like trying to talk to me, but just in an inappropriate way. And I told somebody, and they basically were like, you're 18 now. You're a woman. You're supposed to deal with that. And just like when I get nervous or like somebody makes me uncomfortable, I won't say a thing. I will be like, look at you, like, why are you doing that? And I wear my emotions on my face, so you'll know. But it was just like, they were like, you should have did this and you should have did that, and you're just supposed to deal with it because you're a woman, you're
Absolutely
18 and you're
not.
Pretty and this and that. And I'm like, are you serious right now?
No, but that's
I'm just
not how
supposed to
I
be made
raised
to be
you.
uncomfortable.
So,
and that's why it was like a shell shock. I can't help it.
Yeah.
And that's why it was a shell shock. I was like surprised. Yeah, no, that doesn't get talked about enough.
Yeah. And
Because
that's
I
unfortunate.
didn't have to deal with that until I turned 18, and I was like jaw dropped.
Yeah, there were definitely a lot of grown men. What do you think that's attributed to?
Mm, I don't even know. Because I can't even like rationalize it my own self. Because
You haven't thought about it enough yet.
No. Because I still see like, I can't get it through my head why anybody would think that that's okay.
What I can say as far as how to deal with it is just always make sure that you setting your boundaries.
Yeah.
Boundaries.
Closed mouths don't get fed.
Boundaries are huge.
A long time ago.
And don't be afraid to speak up. There's, like you said, there's a whole generation to where that's like expected.
Mm-hmm.
I was shell shocked about it too. And the thing about it is, in the generation we live in, some girls would be like flattered by that or impressed by that. But I think that goes back to too, like what we were talking about earlier, you don't have a daddy wound.
True.
So like a young lady that may be seeking that love from a man would be like, oh, this older man is attracted to me, and that like they'll be filling that hole with that older man, seeking that love that their father didn't give them. But you don't have that wound.
True.
So you like, hold on, this is weird.
Yeah, I'm like, you my daddy's age. What?
Literally.
Like what?
Like I don't need your validation or care
Right.
or love because I'm not lacking that.
Right.
And so I think that's a huge thing, which is why I think it's important to have, even if young ladies don't necessarily have their father per se in
To
their
have
life,
like a male
to have a
figure.
male safe place.
That is very true because I'm not going to say like, I definitely have a male safe place, but I'm not going to say like I didn't know how to deal with the situation because I don't know how to deal with men, because I know how to deal with men in a platonic way, or even like men that I grew up around that are like father figures to me. Like they taught me how to like talk to them, but I never had to deal with nothing like that. And I feel like that's why I was shell shocked. But I do get what you're saying. It does help so that you know how to at least conduct yourself.
How to navigate that. And I think for women, it's important, period, to have male safe places. I'm not going to say necessarily male friends. We had this conversation. I have an unpopular opinion that most men can't just be friends with you.
I mean, I agree. I agree with that. I agree with that to a certain extent because I do have dude friends that I'm friends with like purely platonically.
Yeah, same. I got a lot of them.
But a lot of them, I definitely had to tell them what was what first.
You got to set the boundary first.
I feel like any man won't. Well, this is just me. I don't have much experience, y'all. So don't flame me, please. But I feel like a man will not approach you if he does not find something in you that he thinks is attractive or attracts him to you in general at all.
Add to that, that's not, and that is partially true. But sometimes men will go for the low hanging fruit. So it's not necessarily how you look, which could be part of it.
The way you carry yourself?
Nope. It is, some men are good at seeing where your cracks are. So they're going to play to those weaknesses.
Long game.
Yeah.
I understood.
So, and this ain't just, this is because I've had it happen to me when I was in a certain place. And B, I got a lot of male friends.
They put you on game.
They put me on game, yeah. So sometimes, and I would say a lot of insecure men go for low hanging fruit. A man that's secure in himself, knows what he wants, knows where he's going in life. He's always going to go up. So a man that is secure within himself, regardless of what he has, it's an internal self-security. If he's secure within himself, regardless of what's going on around, he's going to go for the woman that's up here because that's what he feels like he deserves.
Right.
But a man that's insecure is going to go for the low-hanging fruit because that's what he feels like he deserves. So that's a little pro tip that I've learned. Like I said, I got a lot of male friends, so I pay attention. I'm very observant.
I also feel like every woman should have a male friend. That's an unpopular opinion. But I have a lot of older male friends that are my mom's age that have put me on game so much to stuff I would have never known about had I had been like, it didn't matter. It really doesn't matter how long you're around a man, like in your life growing up. because the relationship between men and women are always going to be different when you turn 18 or when you get older as an adult. So it's going to be always going to be different between men that you grew up around, like adults, like parents, uncles, all that. That's different than when you start having relationships and stuff with men. Is like there's just stuff you wouldn't know if you didn't have that.
And you gotta have a solid sounding board, because some men are gonna give you bad advice.
Yeah, on purpose.
On purpose.
On purpose.
Okay. But, you know, others will have your best interest at heart.
Yeah. And I've been blessed enough to have a lot of men in my life that are sound secure voices, even if they're my friends.
Yeah.
That's definitely something that has kind of saved me. And kind of saved me in my relationship, too, because I'm dating an older person right now. So there's a lot of things that I wouldn't have known about him had I not asked. And it's not even like known about him in particular, like as a person. It's knowing about him as his chemistry as a man, like knowing what they look at, what they look for, like all of that. Experience is everything, especially when you've been in it. So getting that type of information from somebody that has been in it or lives it is just really important.
I'm sorry, hang on just a second.
It's okay.
I think my next guest is here.
Send it.
Oh, crap. This is real time, y'all. This is what we doing. All right. I think our time is up. That was a good conversation. I'm going to have you back, boo.
Yes, ma'am. I do talk a lot, though.
I told y'all once 10 minutes in, she picked up. Look at where the coffee is. Yeah. All right, y'all. Well, we will see y'all on the next episode. Thank you for tuning in. You can find us on all social media platforms, YouTube. Check out our Facebook group. And I guess that's it.
Bye,
Peace.
y'all.